In this episode of Horror Theory, we're going to be talking about Silt. Silt, guys, is a title that is up and coming. It is a 2D puzzle adventure horror title that gives you those vibes of Limbo and Inside. These guys are, Limbo was one of those titles absolutely loved. When this game released, a 2D puzzle adventure, and it gives you those same exact vibes, a very almost unnerving, terrifying kind of experience playing Limbo. And Silt, you can tell, is certainly a spiritual successor to Limbo, and it gets me really excited because you are a diver that can actually possess sea creatures and things of that nature to figure out puzzles, and at the same time gives you that same unnerving, terrifying experience, it looks like, similar to what you got in Limbo. So with that being said, guys, let's dive into Silt and everything that we know so far. Let's get into it. In an article coming to us from Neil Bolt of Bloody Disgusting, I can't remember the last game that enchanted me with its visual beauty whilst unnerving me with what it represented. Well, congratulations to developer Spiral Circus, because it has already achieved just that in a short demo for its upcoming aquatic horror game, Silt. So Spiral Circus, guys, that's who's creating this title. It is not going to be, of course, the developers of Limbo. This is a completely different team that's working on this. That's why we're talking of it being a spiritual successor. These guys obviously have a lot of respect for Limbo and what was created and built over there. And so they're kind of doing their own spin on it, which is really interesting. Silt translates this to a two-dimensional format quite well. It immediately put me deep in that briny abyss as a diver, chained to the floor of an underwater cave. It's a classic cold open setup, held captive with no idea as to how or why you got here and unsure how to get out of it. It pulls back the corner of its underlying mystery ever so slightly by making its first reveal. So I could possess a nearby fish. It's a toothy looking fellow, sort of like a piranha, and enforces that by being able to chomp through the chain on my foot and set me free. Signposted by the game or not, my first instinct is to swim upwards in hope of finding a way out. So yeah, guys, this is a really interesting concept twist on the idea of Limbo, whereas your diver can actually possess these sea creatures, and that's you kind of really essentially used to your advantage to get through different puzzles and figure different things out. And that's something that's really interesting about this title. I can't wait to uncover and understand the lore behind Silt, what they're trying to do here. A lot of it, with Limbo, a lot of it was kind of made up to your, kind of how you thought of the title after the game concluded. One person may have looked at it one way, another person may have kind of translated into something else. And I think the same thing as kind of the vibe I'm getting here with Silt as well. There's going to be a number of different ways to try to kind of pursue victory in this title, but at the same time, I think everybody's going to almost translate what happens and what transpires differently, and that's what I love about a game like this. Now, we could be wrong, guys. We're kind of looking into this a little bit, but that's what I get really excited about with titles like this. There's a lot of mystery to it, a lot of lore that you can kind of tell is behind it, and I can't wait to dive more into it, no pun intended. It then became clear that there was a reason for the scenery looking a little too organic. The exit of this cave system was, in fact, the large maw of some monstrous sea creature. Freedom of sorts had been achieved, but it really drives home how gargantuan the ocean depths are. As I chased down the glowing lure, it agitated striped eel-like creatures hiding in the rocky walls of the tunnel. As I passed them, they began to pursue. Before I knew it, I was rushing towards one fate, whilst escaping another, as several of these eels could just about be seen snapping at the diver's flippers in the inky darkness behind. It's the standout moment of the whole demo, and I'm eager to see if Spiral Circus can continue to tap into that special kind of dread throughout the entire game. Through the other side of that nightmare tunnel, I came into a wider chamber where the glowing beacon of doom drew closer to its source and ultimately revealed itself as the threat I'd assumed it to be. What followed was a strategic use of evasion to destroy the barriers preventing my escape from this new hungry Leviathan. The demo ends shortly after the conclusion of that encounter. So what we've seen so far, guys, of Silt at this point in time. You know, a demo version comes out. We had, you know, another reveal that came at the Future Games Showcase in the spring of this year. There's a lot of excitement building around this title. It's going to be coming out spring of 2022, and that's really exciting as well. We should be getting our hands on this game relatively sooner rather than later, unless there's some delays or something of that nature. But it looks pretty fine-tuned. It looks really great. Like I said, really reminds you of Limbo. But at the same time, it stands on its own, right? It's a little bit of a different kind of take on that, being an underwater diver, dealing with like sea creatures and things of that nature. It's going to be really interesting to see what Spiral Circus does here with this title moving forward. If this is kind of a title that's going to stand on its own, or if it's one that they're potentially going to create a long-withstanding franchise out of, which I think a lot of us would love to see. You know, something with Limbo and Inside, I think a lot of people wanted there to be continuations, you know, after those first two titles, and we haven't got them up to this point. So this could really be the spiritual successor to Limbo, but also push this genre forward in a major way. Silt certainly has a lot of promises at this stage. The art style evokes the mood of Playdead's Limbo and Inside, but manages to put its own, more visually detailed spin on that. It's pulling off Undersea Dread on a 2D plane, which is no mean feat, and it's already offering up an enticing amount of ambiguity that leads to driving questions about where the journey will take our diver. So, overall, guys, we know, you know, certain things about the title, right? We know certain elements of it. 2D puzzle title, adventure, horror. Looks like it's going to be pretty expansive as well. I mean, you're going to be in the abyss of the underwater sea, and that's something that's going to be really interesting moving forward. But there's still so much mystery to this title. Even though there was a demo, even though we're seeing more and more information, there's still a lot of question marks around this title. Let me know though, guys, what do you think about Silt at this point in time? Are you excited about it? Are you still kind of wondering about a bunch of the elements of this title? Where do you think they're going with it, that being Spiral Circus? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Silt content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.